Well, it's been a while since I've done a garden tour video. I feel like lots of the plants are kind of winding down. The aster I started out with, though, is just at its peak. I also have some dahlias here. I actually cut a bunch of them yesterday for my friend Mercy's birthday. I also cut back my watermelon plants a little bit. I figured that the chances of them producing new watermelons and them being ripe before the frost is pretty low. I've actually been out here taking lots of videos. The bumblebees are just crazy on the flowers today. They have been for the last few days. I have no idea if that has to do with the rain that we've had recently, that it just rained so much, and so now they're out here making up for that. But I have been working pretty hard, but it's all the cleanup work. I cut a bunch of the black-eyed Susan heads off so that they don't spread themselves everywhere. I have another, this is lemon basil, and I have another plant that I had cut down because it had all gone to seed. I've been working really hard at moving the violets out of different places. So you can see I have the pots here now. This whole bed was filled with violets, and I've been moving those out. This guy is blooming. I think I'm not sure if that's a native aster or if it's like fleabane or something. You can see the marigolds. There's marigolds everywhere. Next year, I feel like this time of year, I'm thinking a lot about things either to do for next year or things to do differently for next year. You can see here, this whole space is cleared. I need to continue on this way. And this space is cleared. Those were completely covered with violets. But the path, actually, this whole path was covered with the marigolds, and I cut them back this week. Next year, I want the marigolds to all be outside the fence because the deer don't seem to bother them. I started cutting back, actually you can see my bucket here. I started cutting back the oak leaf hydrangea flowers. I'm gonna spread them somewhere in the garden and see if I can get some babies next year. Another thing I'm gonna do differently next year is all my dahlias need to be staked. I don't know what I was thinking, but I feel like this area is really beautiful with the dahlias and the lisianthus all just kind of having their prettiness here. And my cucumber plants, I think they have seen better days. There's still some cucumbers that are growing that maybe I should harvest them. I'm not sure. Yeah, like this one, that plant looks pretty done. So I think I'm gonna harvest this guy now. I've been pretty pleased with my cucumbers, although I'm a little disappointed because in the last few days, I've seen some cucumber beetles, and I think that they can be pretty bad with spreading disease. Now this guy, this is all one plant. This is some kind of native aster, I believe. I don't know the different names for them, but it's hard to see. I think that there's some kind of fly that is the main pollinator here. There's also, I see a bumblebee. I think I see some small bees too. But it's crazy to me just the number of pollinators that are all over this plant. I do have a handful of tomato plants. This plant and the ones over there, I'll walk back over there, they all were ones that I started really late. But it's really fun because some of the other tomatoes are kind of petering out, but these guys are just starting to get some tomatoes on them, so I'm hoping to have some fresh tomatoes before the frost. And it's kind of the garden for now. The snapdragons are here. It's interesting because I think that they're just supposed to be annuals, but they lasted from last year. I had planted them last year, and a couple of them died. I cut some dead snapdragons out, but I'm hoping that some of them will still keep going for next year. This dianthus here I want to share because it is reblooming. It's kind of over here in a jungle. The sage is here, kind of between it and the path. So I can't access it very much, but those blooms are making me happy. And then this mum here, this is the mum. It's from my mom. And they're just starting to get some color on them. You can see some of the color there. So hopefully this week or next week, soon they'll open up and that'll be a real beauty there. So that's the garden.